gross.
When people worship me like people worship Mogamu. When people worship me like people worship Mogamu.
Hey guys, this is Mogamu, and I want you to imagine for a second that Diablo, Magicka, maybe some MOBA, and I think Helldivers went on vacation and had a baby. And when they brought the baby back, it was the most weird, strange flex little baby you ever saw. But actually the baby's kind of cute, and you don't want to judge because you actually kind of like the baby. So that's basically Killsquad in a nutshell. Killsquad is this weird flex, top-down, co-op ARPG, and it's not bad. Now, I mentioned Diablo, Magicka, MOBA, Helldivers, but I gotta add one more game into this. I'm getting some Warframe vibes off of this. I remember back in the day installing Warframe and going, what the heck is this? And like, Killsquad is kind of giving me that vibe. Like, this is a co-op top-down ARPG. It's all about looting planets, getting gear, leveling gear up. It's got a progression system. You got the most weird character selection ever. You got these 4 characters. And it's all about going to the different missions, farming up loot. It's actually pretty good. Like, it's a colorful game. It's got some downsides. It's on Steam right now. I don't know if it's on console or internet. I don't even think it is. This is Killsquad. So the way this works is you can pick between 4 characters. Now, the heroes, it's only 4 of them, but what they have so far is pretty dang good. So we have Troy the Gunslinger. Imagine if aliens from outer space had trucker hats with 666 on them. I don't imagine aliens worship the devil, but sure. Okay, so Troy is the Gunslinger, and he's basically a ranged DPS character. Most of his attacks are mostly ranged. You can mark enemies and then execute those enemies, but mostly he's your ranged DPS character. He doesn't have the top DPS in the game. We'll talk about that character in a second, but his DPS output is pretty decent at range. But again, weird flex with the devil worshipping truck driving alien, if you know what I mean. The next character is Cosmo. Now, Cosmo is Jason Voorhees, but an astronaut. I don't really know what to make out of this, but Cosmo is the tank of the group, right? So Cosmo has this big hammer, and I'm gonna tell you, Cosmo's dumb fun, man. Just smashing into enemies, jumping right in the middle of a horde, spinning around. Like, if any of these characters remind you of Diablo 3, this character reminds me of Diablo 3. It's a weird flex that it's got a hockey mask, but I'm telling you, man, this game is weird. Just go with it. But the tank character Cosmo is pretty good. The next character, and I'm gonna be real with you, this character broke. This character is probably my favorite character so far. So Cass is the warrior nun, and she's the up close melee character. So you got to get really up close and start like dicing things up. You got teleports. You can teleport all over the place. You've got combination attacks and these really cool ults. But this character, man, if you want the one character that's just, oh my God, just like slicing enemies up, and the DPS is just stupid. She's the highest DPS character in the game, but again, she has to get in close, so she's got to depend on other characters to absorb damage, heal her up, that type of stuff. But Cass is broke, man. I've never seen a nun with a mohawk and war paint, but hey man, these religious girls, they're into some weird stuff. And finally, we have Zero, the Sawbones. Now, Zero is basically Chappie with a Han Solo coat. I'm very confused. Zero is the support character. So he's got this beam gun, so he is a ranged character, but he's mostly a support character. He's there to throw down heal packs. He's there to throw down some support abilities. He's got some CC, crowd control. He can knock enemies back. I actually do enjoy Zero, and I'm gonna be real with you. This game has some high level missions, so if you've got a small group where it's maybe 2 of you in a group, or maybe 3, you don't have the full squad, man, you might want to bring a Zero, man. Zero's out here healing you up and throwing band-aids on. Like, you might need a Zero. So the way this game works is it's all online, 4-player co-op, and you drop in. So when you're dropping in, it actually, it reminds me of old Warframe. So you've got these contracts, right? And the way the contracts work is they have varying levels because this game has progression. Yes, progression. They are randomly generated tile sets. So just like Diablo or Path of Exile, you're not getting the same map over and over, which, man, you gotta have that in one of these loot-based games. That definitely helps. There is some progression here. So what you have to do is level up your vector. Now, this is where things get a little weird, but weird in a fun way. So the way vectors work is you have a shop. and you buy each one of these weapons, and they come with random stats, and they come with a higher vector. Remember, if you want to run a mission, you can't run the higher level missions if you don't have a higher vector. So when you're in the shop, you buy a weapon, or you could buy a support gear, or you can buy a prototype gear. So for instance, let's buy this Cosmo weapon, right? Because I don't have one of these. I bought one of those. It used some of my credits at the top, and this gives me plus 40% damage reduction while performing Whirlwind. So that's pretty cool, right? He's a tank. But also, look right here, Vector 31, right? So let's go over to Cosmo, and let's do his inventory, right? So Cosmo is currently Vector 5, but if we were to equip this weapon now Cosmo is Vector level 13. So all of the progression is tied into buying weapons and upgrading them, right? And then you have to replace also your support gear and your prototype gear. And the more you level this up, the more you progress. Overall, man, there are some like really good things about this game. Like if you look at the combat, it's colorful. Like the abilities are crazy. You got abilities and ults flying all over the place. I really like the controls of it. It's WASD on PC right now. So you got to move the character with WASD. You point with the aiming reticle, which is going to throw some people off, but I like the controls of it. I do like the progression system, even though it's a weird flex, but at least you have something to do to progress through. And the characters, man, the characters are really cool. I would love to see them have more characters in here that you could unlock, but they only have 4 right now. If you're looking for just a quick game to just pick up, this game is new and different, and it's easy to pick up, and there's nice progression. So this game's definitely dope. And again, man, it's the ability. So while you're playing through missions, they also have a secondary progression system inside of the mission. So as you're playing and leveling up, you're going to be upgrading your skills. So throughout the mission, at levels 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10, and I think you'll get around level 10 by the end of the mission, you get these options where you can upgrade each of your abilities, and that's where the builds come in. The builds actually happen in the game. I told you this game's a weird flex. While you're playing, you're creating a build just like you would do in a MOBA. So if you like one ability, you can upgrade that. You can build into like the traps on some characters. You can build into the tankiness on other characters, or doing more AoE damage, having more movement. And it's just going through the game and leveling that up right away and making choices kind of based on the mission and the team loadout. And that's different because I've never seen a PvE game do that. That's actually pretty good. Now, it's not all sunshine and roses. I'm gonna be real with you. This game's super early. And I mean like Warframe, closed beta, just a few maps, just a few enemies, super early. Like if you drop $20 on this, then man, you are risking it, because this might not be another DE where they make the game for another like 6 years like DE did. This might be a company that starts the game, may not make a lot of money, and may move on to other stuff. So you just need to know that if you're going to drop $20. That's the other thing. This is super early access, $20, and you know, you can do a lot better with $20. This is something that if you believe in a game, I'd say drop it. But $20, man, you can buy Diablo 3 for like $20 now, I think. I don't know if the DLC comes with that. Path of Exile is completely free, so you could just pick that up. Would this game go free to play? This game needs to go free to play. I don't know what they're doing. I get they might want to make some money early, but remember, Helldivers cost money. And who plays Helldivers now? Nobody. So at some point, they need to go free to play. The sound, bro. This is the one downside that I just can't get on. The sound's horrible in this game. They got to fix it. So for the first thing, the meters where you actually control the sound in game, this doesn't work. In the lobby, it completely ignores the meters. In game, it just gets louder and louder. And for some reason, you turn into Aquaman in the middle of some of these missions where it sounds like you're underwater. It's like this weird echo. I don't know why it sounds like that. So sound is the biggest problem. If you got a problem with sound, you might not want to drop $20 on this. They need a lot more cosmetics when you're running around within the same class. It is great that they've got some cosmetics in this game. So for instance, if I pick my favorite character, Cass, the only choices right now are like a dark Cass and a light Cass. There don't seem to be any cosmetics in the shop unless I missed something. So I'm not really sure there, but right now, if you're in a game with a cast that's wearing essentially the same, like if they're light and you're light, it might be a little hard to tear your character apart. So they need way more cosmetics to make this work. And another problem, no in-game chat. Yo, you're gonna be lonely if you don't have any friends because other people can't type, they can't chat in voice, there's no ping system. It's just a lonely experience, man. It feels like you're playing solo or you're playing with bots. So they definitely need a chat system. The last thing is, I think they're missing out on one of the biggest things, and that's that enemies don't really drop loot, right? Like, don't you like the feeling, the rush, the endorphins when you kill an enemy and he just busts open and loot flying everywhere? Don't demonetize my video, YouTube. But that's the cool thing about like a top-down ARPG, especially something like Diablo and Path of Exile, is that when you kill an enemy and it loot pinatas and loot flies all over the floor, that's the endorphins, man. That's the thing that keeps you playing. And this game doesn't really do that. The progression system is good as far as buying your weapons and upgrading them, but they might want to look into weapons dropping mid-mission, you bringing them back, upgrading them, trashing the ones you don't want. Like, we need to see loot on the ground to kind of be, you know, to have fun with it, but it's cool. The game's great. I'm gonna be real with you. I think it's gonna be a risky $20 to spend. This kind of reminds me of Warframe early days. And if it seems like an active like developer, this may be something that may be worth $20. I think that's pretty much going to decide it. For me, twitch.tv/Magum if you want to see me watch this. Weird flex. It's like Diablo, Path of Exile, and a bunch of other weird like games. Went on some weird vacation, and man, things happen, and all of a sudden, you got Cast the Warrior Nun, who's supposed to be praising Jesus, but she got a mohawk. I don't know how that works. All right, later, guys. Hope you enjoyed the game. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you on Twitch later.
When people worship me like people worship Mogamu. 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 When people worship me like people worship
fucking Mogamu.
When people worship me like people worship
fucking Mogamu.
When people worship me like people worship
fucking Mogamu.
When people worship me like people worship